All right, so I just finished watching episode 4 of Halo the series on Paramount Plus. My last 3 reviews are all on YouTube, so you can check them out if you want to know what I thought of the series so far. Spoilers, I haven't been thrilled. This 4th episode, just as much. It veers off just as much, and it just keeps confirming what I have previously said. After the premiere, I had concerns and critiques, but overall I was like entertained, right? This 4th episode, it just confirms again, like, this isn't a Halo show. It's Halo in name. It's got characters in it, but the only character I feel that they're really doing any justice is Halsey. And it's funny because they just introduced Cortana this past episode, and I swear she only had like 3 or 4 lines this whole episode. She's there, but and I'm sure she'll probably become a bigger plot point going forward. But this whole episode was literally Master Chief walking around and like making faces and like watching memories from when he was a kid. And I guess if you're not familiar with the Spartan program, some of this might be interesting to you to learn some of the backstory of the Spartan program. And they gave some other stuff. Some of the other Spartans talked about the Spartan program a little bit, but it was the most generic story that you can have in any of these kind of like futurist or like, you know, hardcore training activities. And it's just to drive home the fact that Halsey is, you know, basically moralless. And she will do whatever is necessary. She treats people as a blunt instrument, which this episode, if anything, achieved that. They did hammer that point home. Other than that, though, Master Chief and the other Spartans have come off so far as so bizarre. Master Chief just walks around like the whole time, and they're trying to accomplish this point. You can tell they're trying to make it. This whole show so far, they're trying to make this point that, you know, it's about what it means to be human, you know, and you know, the good parts of humanity and blah 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 blah, and how evil some others can be, you know, like the things that Halsey have done. But there's so many better ways of conveying this, and this plot has been done a million times, right? In many different forms and genres. The what it means to be human kind of thing, and to feel human emotions and all that stuff. And like so far, like when the Spartans were standing in that room randomly talking to Captain Keyes, they had established right from the get-go, wasn't particularly fond of Spartans, and they don't seem to be particularly fond of her. And by Keyes, I say Miranda Keyes, I should specify. They're talking so awkwardly, like they're oversharing for no reason. Like literally other than to like say something to the viewer, basically to establish his point. I don't think Spartans would be out there just like chatting about their experiences of becoming Spartans with random people. Like that's not very Spartan-like at all. And Master Chief has not been very Master Chief-like either. He's not very stoic. I mean, if by stoic you mean like just walking around making faces, but the Master Chief is like, he inspires hope and he's a hero because he doesn't get, you know, he doesn't back down. He's just one guy who just keeps fighting and fighting and fighting. And in this, they're making him this special, you know, all his memories hold the key to the fate of humanity. You know, he knows all this stuff from when he was a kid, and only he knows it. And he's, oh my God, it's Master Chief is special in the games and in the books. He is, but not for the reasons that this show is making him special. He's not like all-seeing, all-knowing. He's a super soldier who inspires because he never gets up, he never gives up. He always fights alongside his fellow humans, and he just keeps trying and trying and trying and overcoming and overcoming. And in this, they're trying to inject him with these like generic sci-fi themes, like he's the one, like he's Neo from the Matrix all of a sudden, like he's been chosen. and it's not good. They've done very little to actually make us like Master Chief as a character in this show, I think, so far. But they're trying to hammer it so ham-fisted. He's special. He's special. He's the one. He's the one who's gonna save us all. And blah 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 blah. And it's backfiring. And the same thing with a lot of these things, like the main plot, this plot point they're trying to drive home of humans are, you know, what it means to be human and blah 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 blah. Because now we have two Spartans who've taken their pellet out of their back that suppresses their emotions, and they're acting different. And you know, I think it's supposed to be this like amazing thing, but because these characters haven't really been established, it's not effective. It's like, well, we didn't know these characters that much before. Like, yeah, we know there were, you know, highly trained super soldiers, and you know, we know a little bit about them. And but if you're only watching this show, you don't know how Kai acted prior to this, so or even Master Chief. So the whole thing is, it's not working at all. They spent the whole episode walking around to find this object. They finally find the object, and that's the end of it. We didn't see anything from the Covenant at all this episode, which that doesn't bother me that much. But you know, we didn't get anything more from that human villain who's embedded with the Covenant. We did get quite a bit with no fight scenes, that's for sure. Well, there's some minimal action in there. And that's where I was going. Quan and Soren made it back to Madrigal, and I'm not gonna lie, it's the storyline that's going on there. I get what they're trying to do with it. I get what they're trying to do on paper with it. They're trying to have a human storyline showing this UNSC-backed kind of like warlord-style character who's taken over Madrigal, and you know, Quan's gonna try to go back and fight to revolutionize. Madrigal's not important, other than what the show is trying to make it. Reach is important, where the UNSC is based. Hey, Tabaka. In the books and in the show, but Madrigal's, I don't know why. Yeah, it does feel like a soap opera episode. It's an hour long of nothing really happening. It's characters walking around and having some cinematic shots and stuff like that. So they walk around. Quan gets back. She's wanted, by the way. Quan gets back to Madrigal, goes to her father's funeral, and makes a giant scene. Like, she's acting so, like, it's not the actress's fault. It's the writing of it. She makes a giant scene, which lets out this warlord, this military, I think his name's Fincher or Finch or something like that, I can't remember, aware that she's there. And her family supposedly always, you know, her family was in charge, so to speak, her father, the general there. And obviously he's not gonna like that, because that's what happens in fiction. But that villain, by the way, and again, not the actor's fault, they're acting like he's so out of place. They're acting like he reminds me of the villain in Arcane. What was his name? The weird, like the skinny dude, like the running the Underlord. It doesn't fit at all. He has a scene this week where he's in this giant pool of like green water, walking around smoking a cigar, and I'm ordering an assassination, and you know, like, it doesn't fit Halo at all. And he, like, again, I don't think it's his fault, the actor's fault. It's the characterization of this guy, this character, and it doesn't fit Halo. It doesn't even fit this show, for that matter. And you know, so okay, he orders the assassination of Quan. Quan, of course, goes somewhere where she's gonna get caught. Soren is there and saves her several times. Puts on a motorcycle helmet, which, by the way, is the costumes in this are even not good at this point. I can't believe they had Soren walking around in this motorcycle helmet. It looked ridiculous. It looked like a joke. It looked like fan fiction, like a fan-made thing. And it just, But yeah, I mean, what this whole season, we're 4 episodes in now. I don't know if it's 8 episodes, 10 episodes. I'm assuming it's no longer than 10. We're almost halfway through, and literally nothing has happened. They discovered this artifact in the first episode, and nothing has happened. They're walking around. I know, we all know at this point, the first season's gonna end with them discovering Halo. And that's it. A whole season for them to discover Halo. In the games, you've literally discovered Halo in the intro. I mean, of the very first game. And I'm not saying they had to do that right away, but there's just, like you said, it doesn't. You got it, Frank. The show doesn't feel important. The stakes don't feel high. They've done very little to show anything about the war with the Covenant and make that feel important. Oh, we've seen the Covenant attack humans one time, and the Spartans just kill them all. That's it. We don't understand why the war against the Covenant is a big deal. We haven't seen the Covenant, obliterating humanity, and we might see that. Maybe they attack Reach, and maybe we see the fall of Reach. That would be a great episode, obviously. But we haven't seen it yet. So the Covenant haven't been set up. The characterization of the Spartans isn't really set up. The UNSC has definitely been set up as, not nice, because you've got Halsey doing these bad experiments. You've got the UNSC backing this warlord on Madrigal. The UNSC at this point feels like a bigger villain than the Covenant do, and it's so, this whole show is so problematic as far as, and again, they can change the story all they want. I'm fine with that. Literally, they said it from the beginning. We're doing our own thing. Okay, that's fine. Change the story. But they're doing it in such an uninteresting way. They're not nailing the things that make Halo Halo while also telling their own story. Thank you, Tabaka. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for your donation. They totally missed it. They totally missed the beat. And there is a second season. And I know the showrunner from the first season isn't gonna be back, but I mean, can they write it in the second season? Maybe once they get to Halo, they can really start, start things rolling. Will we see the Flood, for example? I don't know. It's pretty amazing to me that this show was literally worked on for like over a decade and changed over time, passed down from network to network, people thinking about making it. And at no point, apparently, did anybody plan out a storyline. Steven Spielberg was involved, for God's sakes. It was promising, inspiring, interesting, well characterized. And again, I don't have any problem with any of the actors or actresses in particular. I don't think it's really any of their fault. I don't know, guys. I'm going to keep watching it. I'm going to keep reviewing every single episode. I'm going to keep giving you my thoughts on stream and posting it on YouTube later. But yeah, I mean, just everything about it. It just feels not good. And I'm sure, by the way, I'm sure what we're going to find out is that Halsey had Master Chief's parents killed. I'm sure that was going to be because they showed John's parents in this episode, and they showed Halsey back at Master Chief's house when he's a kid, and she's so scared of him remembering things, and she's telling him, don't worry, a lot of it's going to be fake, and you won't know. And of course he will. Where are they going with that, though? I mean, even to this day in Halo, the Spartans still, yes, Halsey's done some bad things, but the Spartans still, for the most part, trust Halsey. They went on a mission in the book before, the book that takes place right before Halo Infinite to recover something for Dr. Halsey. So, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird across the board, and it misses the mark in almost every single way. But I'll be back. I'll be reviewing the next episode. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel to catch those next reviews. Like the video and tell me what you thought of the episode in the comments. Or if you're watching right now on Twitch, obviously, Tell me what you think right now. And if you're watching the videos and you want to come chat with me on Twitch, join me on Twitch, twitch.tv/MayorReynolds. Follow me.